for joining. It means so much to me. You know it's true. Every time you tune in, I promise you, we'll always have something fun to do. I've got me Canada pants on. I've got Paula M's Queen shirt on. Hi everybody, it's Lasha Marianko. Happy, I was going to say July 20th. That's my birthday. Happy Monday, February the 12th. I just wanted to get in a little bit of ambiance before I start reading. Okay, we have a lot on the agenda today. This will be an hour stream. So I'm going to give you the compartmentalization and then I'm just going to go. So I'm going to start off reading Annalese Micheal, where we left off last night. I was really tired last night, but I slept well, so. And then I'm going to continue with the Palace Papers. And again, the aftermath and the destruction and the ripple effect in which Harry and Meghan have caused for the royal family. The royal family, in my opinion, is in a huge crisis. So in order to predict the future, we need to go back and finish the Palace Papers. The Oprah interview, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Oprah's interview with Lance Armstrong, Cindy Crawford, Wade Robson, James Safechuck, and politics for beginners. I'm not going to talk about it from a macro level, but from a micro level on what we can do to take charge if you've been violated, neglected, ignored, unseen, thrown into bankruptcy because of a surgeon, whatever it may be. The legislation in Canada needs to work differently. And that's my mission. So, as always, go to change.org and search for Lasha Rojenko, Rojenko. It's a long read, but it's important. And later tonight, probably around 9 o'clock tonight, I'm going to be reviewing the Year of the Dragon, and I've been doing a lot of research on a certain family combined with my Russian gypsy cards, which I only read what Chinese New Year pockets say or synopsises say in reference to rats or pigs or dragons or goats or rabbits, Chinese New Year. And then the Russian gypsy cards, I only read from the book. So speaking of books, Annalese Micheal, we're on page 60. If you want to catch up on the readings prior to, if I recap from the beginning until page 60, it will take me 2 hours. So go to the playlist on Royal Pushback Aftermath, because all of these lives you can watch here, or they're also downloaded onto the playlist of Royal Pushback Aftermath. Little issue with my phone today. The charger got stuck in there and I needed to use tweezers to get it out. But I also have a SIM card in that phone there. So anyways, page 60. That they wrote out prescriptions for the drug at the request of the family. The summer went by with increased demands on Annalese from her courses and an abbreviated vacation due to practice teaching. She did take several trips to San Domingo, some with Peter, and she visited Father Alt on those occasions. When the inner harassment she suffered from too much to bear, Father Alt was still wavering between what he considered a naturalistic explanation of her complaints, brain damage, perhaps, or psychological problems, and a religious one as another alternative. A possible molestation by demonic forces. After all, before he had ever met her, he had also been similarly tormented just by touching the 2 letters by Annalese and her mother that had been brought to him by Father Herman. Was it the work of Satan? Whenever he had a chance to visit with his fellow priests in Aschenberg, Aschenberg. Where's my coffee? Aschenberg. Her friends, Father Roth, Father Herman, and Father Habiger, the 4 of them would have long conversations about Annalise. Don't you think that indeed it could be something like hysteria or schizophrenia? One would ask. Father Alt admittedly denied it. No way, he would say. Remember that I was a priest in Bonn for years. I often saw people plagued by patients in the neurology section in the hospital. She simply does not act that way. Neither is there anything schizophrenic about her. Did she ever have an epileptic seizure again? Another question. Not in my presence, she didn't. Perhaps it is, after all, what the church calls, okay, this is Latin, Uncessenheit circumcessio in Latin. One or another priest would invariably ponder. Her physicians certainly seem to be wavering. The way she tells it, suspicion of epilepsy, but then maybe not. And the way they change her medication around, sometimes this, then sometimes something else. Not even her EEG is all that consistent, she says. True. Another might say, she told me also, circumcessio really fits, you know. She definitely is under intensive siege, and about those Phrasen, devilish faces. Wouldn't these be the evil forces that are trying to harm her and prevent her from studying? Just one moment. Okay, we're on page 61. It's 9 minutes and 26 seconds. I'll be back when it says 11 minutes. I'll be back. I just have to check downstairs. Sorry, but this is what happens. All is well. Okay, page 61. All right. So, forces that are trying to harm her and prevent her from studying. Exactly. The third one would muse. Even her psychiatrist here in Aschaffenburg is supposed to have told her that she should seek the advice of a Jesuit. Speaking of Jesuits, didn't Father Rodwick at least admit the possibility, not just of circumessio, but the actual possession? He did indeed. But then the test for possession is so much more stringent. There has to be the demon talking over control of the person, living in them, using his organs for demonic purposes, tormenting him, with the human being entirely helpless. Is that really the case with this young girl? I don't believe so at this point, Father Alt would opine. As I keep pointing out to her boyfriend Peter, if it were true possession, we would be shown. We would just have to be patient. Besides, she doesn't seem to be improving, so perhaps we worry about her for nothing. This was also what he kept telling Annalise. It can go either way, he said. What you need is to adopt a strict religious lifestyle under the guidance of a spiritual counselor. Give yourself a few days and decide who should it be. In other words, she has to choose a father. And there's a huge sort of battle between Jesuits, Protestants, Catholics, and Jewish people in Bavaria. And again, this is, 5, 6 years, 8 years after the war she was born. This is also what he kept Annalise. It go either way. What you need to do is adopt a strict religious lifestyle under the guidelines of a spiritual counselor. Give yourself a few days and decide who should that be. It comes as no surprise that as soon as she requested that he should assume this role, the following letter from Annalise to Father Alt characterizing her mood during this period. The letter is suffocated by dark despair, the joyous side of her life with her family, the kindness of her father, the happiness with her sisters. Nothing is remembered, even the positive aspects of her religious experience, such as what she has been given in Maltenberg, are submerged in the darkness of her depression because she got a scholarship, because they were too poor to send her to school. So she's feeling peer pressure, school and pressure. She's not feeling well. She's seeing faces, not only her, but the priests did see her hands swell. That is coming up, or it wasn't past, but they had edema for that. But then other people smell the horrible smells around her. That's not explainable. So the Catholic Church, or any church, Jesuits, they're very, very careful about demonic possessions. If you want to watch any other really good movies about demonic possessions, there's one called The Rite with Anthony Hopkins. It's phenomenal, and it's based on a true story. And The Conjuring, Vera Farmiga, she's fantastic. And I'll think of the other one. But this is what Annalise said. In Klingenberg, September 9th, 1974. Greetings, Father Alt. I should like to write you, although that is a different undertaking for me because it is so hard for me to gather my thoughts. Usually I cannot commit to paper what I really want, and so I remain stuck in superficial matters. Soon I will have to do my 3-week practice teaching. To be honest, I'm terrified of that, and I'm truly scared. Once more, I realize that I cannot cope with reality, which could be different if I were master over myself. I simply am not in control, and this often depresses me deeply. I can feel it, especially when I am with other people or if I play the piano. In that case, I am especially aware of it, or if I paint or write a letter. In fact, it doesn't really matter whatever I do. I simply feel it all the time. For this reason, I am never really satisfied when I work or even afterwards. So all of these ramifications, that word afterwards. So look at all the ripple effects. Like her disease affected her family, priests. It became a court drama in Germany. There was an American movie made from it. So there is so much more to come. And I'm reading this book slowly. After all, a person normally puts his all into his work. He tells Happy, he heals Happy when he works, he commits himself to it. I cannot understand why this is not the case with me. Why is it that God denies me this happiness? Even possible for any human being to live without this dedication to work or a task, without becoming fed up with himself. So what she's saying is, without a feeling of purpose and accomplishment and meeting goals, she feels like hell. I was totally exhausted this afternoon after psychology, and then I felt aggressive. I have no relationships in the world around me to speak of. My parents, of course, noticed what went on, and we took care of matters in such a way that Roswitha, my younger sister, and she has another sister named Gertrude, went to do the work. She finds it strenuous too, but she seems to enjoy it nonetheless. Last Saturday, I went to confession. One needs to overcome some resistance when one goes to confession. But for me, that goes to the extreme. I often have the feeling as if all good spirits were deserting me on such occasions. Afterwards, I was quite happy. On a Sunday, I took communion. I can feel that there's strength coming from that, although at the onset, I always feel completely empty. I can sense nothing and have the feeling that I cannot relate to anything, but this empty feeling disappears. After a few minutes, I become more myself again, more well. See, that sounds like borderline personality disorder to me. So, okay, I'm going to leave it at page 62 because there's a beautiful letter here that she wrote, and it's in German, and I need to translate it, or I'm sure the translation is there. But give this some thought. Think about, I'd listened to it twice. Nothing good comes for me watching it twice. I don't like watching myself. I don't watch myself anymore. I don't even check views or analytics anymore. So what I would do is just bite on that. Like, everything she's explaining to me is what a normal teenager goes through. Peer pressure, a scholarship, meeting expectations. Her parents come from very humble backgrounds. They lived through World War II. And then she was born. But the thing that I just will never, when more details come out, you'll understand why there's then contradictions. They sort of go back and forth with the idea. I noticed that in the book. So look up demonic possession, spell, demonic possession, spell, and schizophrenia. Look up the meanings of those three words. Demonic possession, spell, and schizophrenia. I would do it myself right now, except I need a new charger. So that was 21 minutes and 47 seconds of pretty much all Annalese. I don't want to read the palace papers right now. I just want to talk about a couple of opinion pieces. I'm going to leave the Trump and the Biden issues for later. The medical negligence, go to change.org. You'll understand my issue with the legislation, why I need signatures, why I want to monetize, why this is going to be a charity, why I'm going to put up what I make. If one of these channels ever meets 1,000 souls, which is Google's rule, not mine, right? So, yeah. Now, I just wanted to say Oprah Winfrey is a terrible interview. I've gone back and I've looked at hours of her old footage, and in looking back at her, to be honest with you, I see nothing but somebody who's phony. I've never heard anybody talk about grooming and wanting to talk to Ps or people that are survivors. Also, MJ was found on the Jetsons. And I remember Wade Robson's wife saying, all those children, they're telling the truth. And I know it's hard to believe that somebody in your family can have that illness, but why couldn't he sleep at night? Why am I closing my eyes? Because I'm just tired and I'm thinking and I'm envisioning that Martin Bashir interview where his leg is shaking and he's got the baby there. And so as far as the royals, they're in a huge crisis. King Charles has cancer. He's being open about it. Harry is fifth in line to the throne. The stress and the ramifications of everything that Harry and Meghan have done over the last 5-6 years. Should we go through everything? Well, let's first talk about all the baloney in the newspapers, and then how they came out on Oprah. And Oprah wanted to interview them from day one. And Oprah's first question to Meghan on that interview was, he said it wasn't the time. And Meghan was sitting back with her legs crossed, and she went, mm-hmm. So that woman, Meghan Markle, had everything planned from the beginning. And again, I'll always say, what in the hell did she Google about the royal family? And how did she maneuver this really long end game? Everybody has goals, but hers is like a chess game. If you want to see something really funny, because I'm not funny today, go to Thomas Markle Jr. and Friends. But okay, King Charles has cancer. I'm not saying anything out loud. I'm just going to come back tonight, read the palace papers. Oprah Winfrey is a disgrace. What happened to those children at the border when Trump was in office? And was it the justice, the immigration head of justice or congresswoman or something? Her name was Sally, and she put a ban on what Donald Trump wanted, and he fired her. You're fired. So we'll talk about Biden, Trump, the ramifications of Canada, how it affects us at a macro level. Change.org is where you can find out about why I started this channel, 3 of them. And just Oprah Winfrey just blows me away. She just blows me away. She's such a user. And I always used to blame Meghan for Harry's behavior. It's the 2 of them. Just the 2 of us. We can wreck everything if we try. Just the 2 of us. Meghan and I think what's going on with Catherine is a little more serious. The fact that I think that the royal children should not be king or queen based on birth, older, middle, younger. It should be who's best suited for the job. Because you imagine if Harry was born first? She took a chunk out of the royal family. They went to the States. They tried to monetize on the titles. So did Sarah Ferguson. They all do. And I'm tired of the royal family lying to us because Meghan never gave birth to those children, in my humble opinion. I think that Archie is his child, but not through Meghan. The child's, no way. And she's a narcissist, and narcissistic parents, they have their children are an extension of themselves. Every parent says that their children are like having your heart outside your chest. Well, narcissists don't have hearts. They would use their children for what would benefit them. You ever get parents that go through a divorce and all they do is fight about each other and they use the kid as a pawn? Well, that's what Meghan did with Harry and everybody in the royal family, and they were afraid to come out firm because of her race. She's the one that made it an issue, nobody else. And everybody probably was a little bit nervous. You know, it was a ridiculous wedding, having no family there. And the royal family is lying to us, and they have been involved in so many key issues. I mean, the Queen knighted Jimmy Savile. I live in Canada. I love the Queen. I am for the monarchy, but they're supposed to be an example of strength, and they don't involve themselves in politics. Well, what is Harry and Meghan doing right now? What are they doing? I am very, very concerned. And that's all I'm going to say. I'll leave you with that to chew on. Write it in the comments in terms of your thoughts about what I spoke about today. And there is good and evil. That's why I want to give this Annalese a slow read. Okay, this is to give and to keep to someone special, wishing you happiness. So I always tell everybody to take care of yourselves, and I'll do the same. Well, I'm going vegetarian, and I've done it now for 2 days, and I do feel a little better. So, and I did put some dancing up on Royal Pushback Aftermath, and there's some good little shorts that have longer videos from the old channel, L&L Soul Sisters, and this channel. So go to Royal Pushback Aftermath. So I'm going to close my eyes. And so while we all love ourselves and heal and get better, This is what we're going to focus on today. May you never miss the last mail collection. Start to applaud at the end of the second movement. Lose track of which cutlery you are supposed to be using. Find the concert you have tickets for was yesterday. Turn up to a posh in shoes that don't match. Lose your credit card. Have a television that goes put at the end of crucial moments. Get given a pot plant that breathes its last day before your friends visit. And last but not least, leave the shopping list on the kitchen table. Don't ever do that. Don't miss the mail. Don't applaud at the end. Don't lose track of cutlery and what you're supposed to be using, especially at a royal table. Don't forget the concert tickets. Don't wear ugly shoes. Get a better television. Feed your plants. And, don't forget your shopping list. In other words, from a micro level, stay organized. Okay, I'm going to go get a new charger, and I'll see you on Royal Pushback Aftermath. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. I really, really do appreciate it. I do. Okay, bye. And sleep.